I can be whatever I want to be. I'm a son, an African safari. It's a dangerous type of sport, and yet it's fun. In the night I sally forth to seek my quarry, and I forgot to bring my gun.
Just can't wait to be served by fate on a silver plate or a tray. Now is the time of your life, the time of your life is today.
I wish I had, I wish I would, I wish I might, I wish I would, I wish I were invited to the Princess Royal Province.
He's giving a ball.
The prince is giving a ball. But the world is full of zanies and fools who don't believe in sensible rules and won't believe what sensible people say. And because these stuffed into angels keep building up impossible hopes, impossible things are happening every day. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
Loneliness of evening, looking out on a silver flake sea, and ask the moon, oh, how soon will my love come home to me? Will my love come?
Meet your prince, a charming prince, as charming as a prince will ever be. La 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 la. The stars in a hazy heaven tremble above you while he is whispering, darling, I love you. You say goodbye, away you fly, but on your lips to keep a kiss. All your life you'll dream of this lovely, lovely night. In a mountain, light the sky, make a wish of a
Hey, hi everybody. Yeah, I'm Mike Isaacson, the artistic, The artistic director and executive producer of the Muny. And it's Monday night, so we're having one of our cast parties, which have turned into such a delightful event. We're so grateful for everybody's emails and texts about how much fun they're having watching them, bringing back so many great memories with all these beautiful people and all the magic that is created at the Muny each and every summer. So tonight we are bringing back our cast of last summer's, get it centered there, Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella, which, you know, as everybody know, and I wrote in the program notes, this was originally a television production that Rodgers and Hammerstein wrote in the 50s for a then completely unknown Julie Andrews. She had only done My Fair Lady on Broadway. A national audience had no idea who she was. They did this, and in the days of only 3 networks, 100 million people watched it, and the score is glorious. And it was finally done on Broadway in 13 or 14. And we had a chance to do it last summer under the direction of Macia Milgrom Dodge and choreography by Josh Walden, both of whom will be joining us tonight. And I'm seeing so many amazing people already joining us. Hi, Tony. Hi, Horsley. Nikki Snelson. Oh my God. Hi. All the friends are joining us. So let's start by bringing in the stars of the evening, our lovely Cinderella and Prince Topher, Mikaela Bennett.
Hi.
Jason Gotay.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, hi.
It's working.
A major happiness. And you both have great lighting. Congratulations.
It took a minute.
I'm doing this light strawberry thing that I can't quite fix, but you guys got it. It's great. All right, first of all, tell us where you are and how you do it. Mikaela, you start.
I am doing okay. I'm here in Brooklyn, just staying inside, enjoying my time with my doggy.
Nice.
Yeah, and staying safe and trying to be as healthy as possible.
Washing your hands, wearing your mask.
Doing all the things, all the things.
That's great. How about you and Jason? Where are you and Michael?
Michael and I are in Harlem. We're hunkered down at our apartment in Upper Manhattan. We have our homemade masks. We have 2 boxes of latex gloves anytime we leave this apartment or go to the laundry room. You know, we're being really careful, and we're both feeling okay so far. So no complaints.
All right, let's talk about some of the magic last summer. So for both of you, I know, you know, Jason has been at, I don't know, that was like your 5th Muny show, Jason? I don't
This is
know.
my fourth Muny.
But Mikaela, this was your first time in a leading role, in the title role of music. So just tell everybody about your experience and what you took away from it.
Oh my gosh. Well, it was magic. I actually felt like I had heard about Muny Magic. I had no idea what it meant. But when I got there, it was beyond anything that I could have dreamed of. Getting to rehearse outside, I didn't realize how glorious that was going to be. And I remember one day you brought me to, Mike, you brought me to the stage. You said, do you want to see the Muny stage? Do you want to have like a moment by yourself with the Muny stage? And I said, of course. And you brought me out, and it was like, I couldn't believe it. It was like a football stadium. And every single night, that same magic happened. And I remember Jason and I, there was one night, and I think I spoke about this at Muny Magic at the Sheldon, but there was a night when Jason and I were singing about the moon, and we looked up, and there was a full moon, clear sky, and I think that that's the only way I can describe Muny Magic, is like that spiritual energy, just looking out and feeling nature. It was amazing. Jason,
what's your Cinderella memory?
Cinderella was okay. There was nothing really magical about it. It's just another show. No. Cinderella is so special for so many reasons. Like I said, it was my 4th Muny show, and every time I come back there, it's always amazing to see the incredible groups of people that you guys put together. So it's always like, who am I gonna, what Broadway legend am I gonna get to work with this summer? And Ashley Brown, Jen, Cody, and getting to work with Mikaela again, because Mikaela and I had done an off-Broadway musical together the year prior, and so getting to do a show like this at the Muny together and kind of have a newcomer at the Muny and get to show her the ropes a little bit and kind of be there and relive the magic of, one of the most special places on earth through fresh eyes. And it didn't hurt to have my partner out there too. We hadn't done a show together in years. And so, he got to come out, and it was fantastic. So it was special for a lot of reasons.
I'd forgotten that actually. You were both in an off-Broadway musical called Renaissance, written by Dick Scanlon and Carmel Dean. And I went to see it, and I think Mikaela was maybe 4 bars into whatever her first song was. Who is this? This is Cinderella.
Yeah.
It's like Jason.
So sweet.
But the other thing that I relished about what I saw the two of you do, which was you gave the audience a genuine love story, and that's the heart of Cinderella. You know, that two soulmates finding each other, weaving their way through and finding that. And then there was that, you know, there is something very special that happens when, you know, Rodgers and Hammerstein meets the Muny stage with our full orchestra and all that lushness. And it was so beautiful each night watching you two just kind of revel in that, like you gave yourself over to it. It was so, your love of the music was really, really clear to the audience. I can't remember, did you learn the songs before you got here, or did you kind of do it here? I can't remember. Sometimes
I think we just did it we got together at the Muny.
Yeah.
I don't think we practiced at all before. No.
Yeah, we didn't get to sing the music together at all, but there is something about those writers, and also something about doing the family show at the Muny is really special. And I had done The Little Mermaid with Macia and Josh the year before, and that was the first family kind of experience I'd had there. And there's something really special about the kids. And I know Mikaela meeting the little girls dressed in their princess gowns every night. There's something about knowing, and Mike, you talk about it all the time when we come, that the family show is going to be the very first musical theater experience that a lot of these kids have. And so it was also special for that reason too.
And you know, we had a chariot, we had a bowling ball pumpkin. We had a lot of magic on that stage. That was the fun set rehearsal. So let's actually joining the party now. Let's bring in two of our magicians, Macia Milgrom, the director, and Josh Walden, the choreographer. There's MD.
Hello.
Oh, it's good to see you. All right, real quick, MMD, I'm sorry to everybody who's watching. Her name is Macia Milgrom, and everyone calls her. So that's what you're gonna do. Tell us where you are and how are you?
I'm on West 73rd Street in Manhattan with Tony Dodge, my husband, and we're doing aerobics every day, and we bought a scale. So we're really masochists, I think.
You bought a scale.
No, we did. We bought like a scale. Amazon. Thank God for Amazon. No, we're doing very well. And I lost 6 pounds. And he cut my hair. So
you're doing fine.
And I still have blonde left. Yeah, I still have some, although I tried to cut and divoted right there. But otherwise, we're okay. Healthy.
Wonderful. And Josh, where are you?
I'm doing great. We're in Hudson Heights, northern Manhattan. I'm here with my new husband, my newly married husband. Thank you. With Chris DeProfetis and with our 2 doggies, and so we're trying to make this extended honeymoon fabulous.
Okay. And we'll end that topic. It's a family. Hang on a second. I want to watch all of your faces as we hear the following. Hopefully this will work.
I wake in the loneliness of summer.
Oh dear.
When the deep purple heaven turns blue, and start to pray as I pray each day that I'll hear some word from you.
There's more? Okay, how long are you going to let this go on?
In the loneliness of evening, out on a silver flaked sea, and ask the moon, oh, how soon will my love come home to me?
Save me, Mikaela. Here she comes.
With the dust of the stars in your eyes, we are dancing, we are flying, and she's taking me back to the sky.
I miss it.
Oh, we're not done yet? Okay.
You're fading.
Oh God, okay.
I wish I could sing that every day with you, Jason.
Oh my God,
I
truly.
love that moment. That was the moon moment.
Yes, yeah,
Aw.
so special.
There, sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, so Marcia,
Yeah,
I mean, you hear that. I mean, come on, right?
I know. Well, Jason's he's my prince. All my Prince musicals, Jason Gotay has been my prince.
All right.
Little Mermaid and this one. So
And how
that
did you,
was easy. And Mikaela, I saw actually Ben Davis said, you have to hear Mikaela when I was casting Ragtime for Tuts. And so I listened to Mikaela for that. I was like, get her. And then she was doing, I think that's when you were doing West Side Story at
in
Chicago
Chicago.
Shade.
Yeah.
Or Chicago Lyric Opera. Yeah. So another Muny fave, Danielle Fulton, actually came to do Ragtime, and then Mikaela was available for this. So, you know, it's all good, exciting. Yeah,
So-
we had fun.
when you
With
do
the-
fantasies,
Yeah, go ahead.
when you do the family fantasies, what are you trying to create? What's your goal?
Well, my goal is to entertain the kid inside of every living being that attends the Muny. And the exciting thing about doing classic musicals that have high expectations for things that they think they have to see in the musical, it's very important for me to let them know they don't have to see somebody else's version of the show. They're going to see an original show at the Muny. Josh is going to create original choreography, and we are going to approach it with a very modern sensibility. And thankfully, this script lent itself to that because Douglas Carter Bean already did the heavy lifting and made Cinderella a woman who believes in herself and stays true to herself throughout the whole story. So although we may not have had the ball gown that everybody expected, we had a woman who was perceived differently by the eyes that were seeing her, not by her changing.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the magic just heightened her essence. And that was what was exciting. So we really developed a beautiful storytelling motif for this version. And it was great. And we had a very diverse company. And we had Ashley Brown singing Fairy Godmother. So it was like everything was working on all cylinders. It was so exciting. And the designers and
Josh, tell us about choreography, like some of the ideas Marcia was talking about. What did you try to do with this show?
Yeah, so you do kind of have like certain expectations that you're confronted when you're doing something that everyone knows, and trying to snowball or work off of Marcia's vision, and to make sure that we as the audience understood that it is Cinderella who is affecting everyone, as opposed to Cinderella arriving and being affected by her surroundings. So the biggest thing that I found was the ball, and trying to make sure that all of the guests weren't just fulfilling this fantasy of Cinderella's, but that they actually were going on a journey themselves and changing. So the choreography wasn't so much about sweeping lifts and big, grand, just waltzing gestures around Cinderella. It was a discovery for every single person. So there were really like moments that were very subtle about these actors and these guests slowly understanding that Cinderella's kindness is starting to feed into their bodies. And I wanted to make sure that the choreography didn't just go nuts for the sake of being grand, but that to make sure that the choreography was coming from this place where the guests were new because of Cinderella's appearance and because of the philosophy that she had and always had. So it was really cool because you gave us the freedom to be subtle, but in a very Muny way. So it's very rare that you get to have those emotional moments. I had cast members come up to me crying, saying that they're so grateful that we allowed them to each individual ensemble member have a journey, and that they weren't just stock and filler, and they weren't just like aiding to someone else's story, that each single cast member, it was imperative that they went on a journey and became someone new through it. So that was really cool.
And then we got to his biggest choreographic challenge, teaching me and Mikaela how to look like we had a waltz.
Oh, you guys
You
did
look
great.
good.
Shut up.
I remember being like cross-eyed
Yeah.
every night trying to do circles.
Thank you for your patience. I just have to throw that
Of
in.
course.
I do remember on opening night during that waltz moment, Jason looking directly in Mikaela's eye like, we're doing it, this is happening.
Yep. The pep talks that went on were just that no one heard. Yeah. We were there. We did it.
You did it.
Yeah, you did beautifully.
The other little Josh Walden magic was, actually Josh Walden, Margaret Milton Dodge magic was clearing an enormous household set, bringing on a chariot, landing on a turntable, turning the turntable while everybody was a singing and a dancing.
Yeah. Thank goodness for the Muny teens. They worked really beautifully, and we love working with them. And so they were our horses. They were our magic. What did we call them, Josh?
They were
like
sparks.
sparks. Yeah. And so they came out of seemingly the fairy godmother's wand, and they were really doing the heavy lifting during the carriage ride, because they were dancing on that turntable while it was spinning and changing their positions and giving us the sense of motion. It was gorgeous.
Well, I have to do a shout out because the lead guy was a teen named Mark Geis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Every night I would go out to watch it because he would bring that thing barreling out and he would have to turn. And of course, Josh Walden, he had to land on a spike, and there wasn't any performance where it was the same thing every night. You just see him with this huge chariot, like, okay,
over
that little piece of tape on this.
overshooting his mark or turning too soon.
Yeah, turning to land it so we could turn because if it was off, we couldn't.
That was a huge piece of scenery.
Yeah.
Normally carried by horses, real horses, and we have, Mark. So it's like unbelievable.
But he was so game. I remember working with him, and never once did he complain. And the boys in the back, they were all just in it. We're gonna get it right. And I did it with them to make sure it wasn't impossible. I wanted to share the load with them, just so we weren't forcing them to do crazy labor. But they were so in it, and they wanted to make it perfect. And that's what I love about the Muny teens. They're exquisite. I love them.
They really are. They're extraordinary.
There is a classic backstage story that's of that moment that has stayed part of the lexicon, because one night, you remember those horses were beautifully designed and they were lit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Robin McGee and Eric Wright.
One of them went up in the air and a leg broke.
Right.
And one of the crew guys over the intercom goes, "Horse down." Like, what is happening?
Oh my God.
But it was amazing. Those 4 teens as the horses, not only did they just have to be a puppeteer, but I was asking them to do balletic moves that they never once told me, "Josh, this is impossible." They tried everything, and I was like, "Are you sure you can do this?" They're like, "Absolutely." They were hitting
no to you.
Well, they were hitting arabesques, and they were doing sautés as if they didn't have a large horse puppet on them.
Yeah.
And yet they just blew my mind.
All right, Josh and Marcia.
That's it.
So nice to see you.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Say hi
Stay
to
well.
Cody and Chris.
And now we are going to bring on 2 of the wickedest of the Stepsisters. I think we have Stephanie Gibson and Jen Cody. Fasten your seatbelts.
Yes, they're here.
And Allison's here. Okay.
It's crazy.
Hi, Allison. Oh, God. All right. First of all, I'll start with Stephanie. Where are you? How are you?
I'm doing well. We're in. I hope you can hear me. My internet's not the best. Can you hear me? I am in Folly Beach, South Carolina. My in-laws, my husband's parents, live here, and they are trapped in Ireland right now. And so when we found that out, they were on sabbatical when this happened. So when we found that out, they're okay, by the way. They're doing great.
Okay.
But got in a big van and drove here, and we've been here for a month and a half now, and we're hunkered down here in the nature and the sun, and I'm so grateful for that. So yeah, and my cat too, he's with us, and all is well.
That's good.
Jen,
where are you in Hunter?
I am in Syracuse. I was actually getting ready to do a job in Arizona, so I packed my suitcases with all sundresses and sandals, and I came here to kind of say goodbye to my husband for a little bit. And so now I'm here with sandals and sundresses, and it snowed yesterday like a blizzard. So I'm layering a lot.
Right.
Lots of layering. What?
Just multiple sundresses.
Yeah, just oh, and I'm sorry. How long has this been going on, this podcast here? And yeah, no one has mentioned my cardigan.
Where is it?
So,
Oh my God, the cardigan.
everyone who's watching this mug that I'm sharing with the Muny community, I think the first day of rehearsal, Jen reported to everyone who could breathe that her white cardigan was missing.
Stolen.
Well,
Stolen.
Snatched. It was snatched.
It was snatched.
And where was it? And committees were formed, coalitions were met.
Posters were made.
And our company manager, Sue Greenberg, made a poster that was put all over the lot. And I turned it into a mug that makes me so happy.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I drink out of it. It's in New York right now. But here's the thing. When I first was written, like when they wrote to me and said, hey, the Muny, we're doing this thing. I was like, oh, they found my sweater. This is going to be all about my sweater. No one even mentioned it in the first half hour.
I'm sorry. Blame the host. Blame the host.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's my fault. All right, Jen and Steph, I want to hear your Cinderella memory. What do you got?
Oh gosh.
You want to go?
Yeah, I think there was a night when it rained 442 times, and it was such a treat because not a treat, but I think it bonded all of us because in spite of rain delays and stopping and starting and jumping and diving back in and out, we kept going. And it was this really fun moment of all of us kind of bonding together and being like, we got this. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. The moment that the show finally stopped was when me and Jean-Michel had our big romantic scene together. And it was the ding dongs coming together. And it was the big moment that we've been waiting for them. And we both said yes and dove into each other's arms and started kissing. And then I heard, ladies and gentlemen, on the show. And it was this like special moment because I was like, well, is that the end? That's sweet. Like Cinderella ended
They got their happy ending.
Yay.
Yes. And we looked down and we did a little bow and we blew a kiss and we ran away. And it was just this really special ending that night. So that's mine. Yeah.
Amazing. Jen, what do you got?
Well, my favorite part of the Muny is the overture. Always like that. Strangely enough, I'm never in the first scene of shows at the Muny. This was my sixth show, and I come on late. I always go and stand in the wings, and I watch the overture and watch the people. Like this time, it was all the kids. I don't usually do the kids show, and watching the little kids with their puppets and tears every time, and I have to say, I watched the videos of the trees, and it made me cry. It was so beautiful. So I love the trees. I'm glad they're back.
They're back. They went in on. It's so weird. I mean, we're all trying to figure out what time is these days. What is today? Monday? I guess it was last Wednesday. So they're there, and they're doing well so far. One weekend, I stopped by on Friday to sort of walk around, and what's really astonishing about them, I got very moved by it. But it's also, they're not obviously what they were, but they will grow into that. Mm-hmm. Like we're going to have this whole idea of all this second century and everybody coming in now will begin this journey with grandparents, parents, kids, and their families will see these trees grow and all of this become.
It's so timely.
Yeah.
So timely.
Yeah.
A rebirth.
Yeah.
the other thing is, okay, so I think right now we've got Ashley Brown standing by. We're going to bring her into this party.
Oh,
There she is.
yes, Ashley
How's it
Brown.
going?
Right, the best bowler at the Muny. How are you, Ashley? Where are you?
I am in New Jersey. We're staying put and we're healthy and getting a lot of stuff done with the house. So that's been the upside of all this. But we're doing good and just hanging tight.
Yeah. You know, you could. I hope people who are watching this are getting a sense of. But you guys were such an amazing, funny company. Like I just remember laughing for like 3 weeks straight. This whole thing, and Ashley, it was really joyous to see because you took that part and you gave her sort of this really interesting, comic, wicked, funny spin. She was there were moments where just when you were, is she crazy? What's going on? I mean, it was so.
The answer is yes.
And there were certain times that Mikaela would look at you like, huh, so you're my favorite brother. Like, so anyway, tell us about you and that part and how you created it and what it was like for you.
I mean, I haven't been back to the Muny in so long, and it's where I got my equity card, and I just have so many amazing memories there. And so to be back was just so much. It was so much fun. And to play this role, a role I've never even thought that it was going to be happening anytime soon. And I loved it because it was just like, I was watching what Macia was saying and about how she just allowed all of us to kind of make all of this our own, and that we didn't have to be what had been done. You know, we could be whatever we wanted it to be. And so I had a lot of fun just kind of making her kooky and like making her but warm at the same time, but keeping, you know, Cinderella and everybody around her on their toes. It was kind of like my favorite thing to do, is kind of get a little cray-cray sometimes. And I mean, I've always, I don't think in my life have I not been in the family show. I think it's just my MO. And I'll take it, you know? I'll take it. I'm always the family show girl, no matter where I go.
My favorite is that Ashley and I had rooms next to each other in the hotel. And every time, like about a half hour before the show starts, Ashley would be like beautifully warming up with this gorgeous, gorgeous soprano. And I'd be like, I'm good. Yeah. So if you walked by our rooms, she would be singing these glorious notes. And I'd be like, fabulous. Ready to go.
Well, that's why it takes all kinds to put on Cinderella.
It's a beautiful sound, Jen Cody. I think it's a beautiful
you.
sound you make.
You have to get it forward, honey. You have to
Right here.
Right here.
Pop a starburst and then pop a high note.
Starburst.
Yep.
It's all good. I've learned so much from these ladies and gentlemen.
But I mean, truly, like we all became one big silly family. That was my favorite part of all of this. It's like we all just meshed. Yeah.
It was so special and so quick, but we all were so bonded in such an amazing way. That doesn't always happen. It was like this is something really special. Yeah.
But it does happen at the Muny because I know Young Frankenstein, Steph, we also became like crazy. Maybe it's the Muny.
I think that might be.
Definitely.
No, it's Mike.
It's Mike.
No, I mean, honestly, I've thought a lot about this. It's a couple things. It's the gift of it is when we're there, it's only about the work, and nobody can get in their head, and nobody can do that stuff. We just all create together, and there's a purity in that is very powerful. It's also whatever your art is on stage, backstage, you kind of got to go with your gut in your first instinct, trust yourself. And you see like, oh, I was right. Like I have something to contribute. I also think what's unusual about the Muny, unlike any other theater where everybody works, is you see your colleagues who you don't normally see in other theatrical life, like every day. You see them building the sets. You see them sewing. You know, like it. And so in that sense, there's sort of this communal strength that ends up on the stage. Just sort of all fits into that. And, you know, and it's kind of in some senses the way it should be. Like, you know, but you know,
Yeah.
the rest of it just doesn't work that way. So anyway, didn't mean to. Wow, totally.
No.
That.
No,
Well,
and I
that-
think too is it's like everybody that's involved, whether you're actor, behind stage, costumes, like we're all out to make it the best it can be. Like there's not anybody else that has a different agenda. You know what I mean? And so there's something really magical about like this is opening night. Like there's no moving it around, there's no pushing it back.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna put on their thinking caps, you know.
I remember like on the platform with you with that pumpkin, the bowling ball.
Oh, God.
And then we got up on stage and you were like, wait a minute, there's another 10 yards. And Tim, I got you, Ashley Brown, right here. Just bowling. You remember that? And he was like, every night he was there like, I got you.
He was there. And there was a few times where I wasn't always great. I don't think bowling is going to be a special skill of mine, I would say. I did not get better as the run went on. I kind of went downhill. I think Marie got a little cocky with the bowling, and so I went like, and like when the boys had to like straddle it and then carry the carriage on, I was like, I'm so sorry.
It was sort of fun. All right, so Jason and Mikaela, we are going to say goodbye to you.
Oh, bye.
Everybody, love you all.
Love you.
It's so good to see your faces.
Bye.
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 And we are bringing in two major ding dongs. Let's
Oh,
ask
no.
Scherer
Ball.
and
Here we go.
I'm already giggling.
No, I don't want to
Get off the phone.
No, it's too hot. It's outside. There are bugs. Just tell him no. I don't care. I'm not doing it. Thank you. Seth, hi. How are you? It's so good to be here.
Oh,
Did you say
Seth.
Steph?
Oh, it's
Do you-
Mike. Mike, sorry. I
You
get
have
my.
a whole stand-up routine already in place?
Were you on the phone with Broadway?
How are you?
Broadway's closed, baby.
all right, before this is completely out of my control, welcome to Chad.
Bye.
And quickly tell us where you are and how you are. Chad, you start.
Hey everybody, I miss y'all. This is Team Hanny right here. I am in Arkansas with my family. I've been here since Broadway doesn't exist. I came here.
Nice.
Yeah.
And John?
I'm in Buffalo, New York. 2 short hours from Jen Cody. And I'm at my mom's house. I came up for a short visit in the beginning of March. And then when we went haywire, I just stayed.
Oh,
Wow.
that's great. And how's
Well, she's watching. She's in the living room.
she?
I mean, you know,
And you're behaving in Buffalo?
mostly.
You're right. That's all we need.
I do not believe one word of
No.
this.
No way.
Can we all just take 2 minutes to acknowledge that since we were all together, Chad has done 2 Broadway shows?
I know.
What?
Hashtag book it, Henny.
Henny.
Book
Chad.
it, Henny.
Tell everybody who doesn't know. Tell us what shows you did. Tell us.
I'm about to drop my computer. They ain't got the money to spend on that. I was Olaf in Frozen, and then I was playing Damien in Mean Girls. I got to do it 3 times.
Yay.
Yeah, I did 3 shows. We did have
my God.
1 show on Tuesday and 2 on Wednesday, and then it was like, okay.
Oh,
Mm.
bummer. You'll be back.
It was
You'll be
fun.
back.
Chad, tell us about your Muny memory for Cinderella.
Okay, well, first off, I was working with all of these people. I had had the unfortunate duty of working with John before. No, but I already knew John and loved him, but it was just so awesome. I feel like this group here is legendary. And to work with Steph, she'd done the show before, so it made it a lot easier. And then also just like trying to keep up with them. Like keeping up with Jen Cody, like try to get a word in. Like she will beat you before you can. She's always got a joke though. I'm like, dang, you just learned so much. So that is probably my favorite memory. But also it was the last night that it was raining and we were like, okay, and we were like holding the kiss and we were waiting for someone to announce. We were like, are they gonna like it? I had glasses on and they were just like covered. I couldn't even see. I had that wig on and it was like.
So it was so funny though. I'm like, I had never done a show outside before, and like especially at the Muny, and then it felt less weird because the audience at the Muny is so supportive. So then we got up and they were like, "Yay, work!" And we're like, "Okay, cool, yeah." But yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of it, and mainly I loved the people and staying up till 4 a.m. in Jen's room and hanging out and like getting trouble.
And John, what's your memory of Cinderella?
Other than working with us.
My wig.
His wig.
My wig.
Your wig was epic.
The cinnamon bun.
The cinnamon bun. I wore a cinnamon bun on my head. And they wanted me to wear leather pants, but I said no because I was already wearing a wool coat.
Oh.
That's not the best idea for this place. So yeah. But my favorite memory from this group though is that we had a little bit of a reunion. A couple of us, Jen and Steph and Ashley and I met up in the village a couple months ago.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we
They had
did.
been out for about 3 or 4 hours, and they called me in a drunken stupor.
That is fake news. That is not true.
Anybody
It
follow
wasn't a stupor. It was just silly.
No, none of that happened.
All right.
Well, listen, Mike, I was wondering, could you just play my song from Cinderella? You were playing Jason. And I just wanted to hear mine.
Actually, thanks for the segue. Here, I want us all to hear the following.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think it's this one.
Beyond the void that keeps insisting no.
Yeah.
Something more than doubting, breaking through the darkness.
Think it.
That sets your heart aglow.
Stunning.
Someone wants you. You know who. Now you're living. There's music in you. Now you're hearing something new. Someone playing the music in you. Now you're living. You know why. No, there's nothing you won't try. Move a mountain, light the sky, make a wish come true. There is music in you.
Wow.
Unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable.
Thank y'all. I've not heard that.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
The other
There
thing,
was a day. Oh, go.
no, the about last season, it was, first with the new stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were exploring what it could do and what it could bring the audience, and the huge discovery really was a surprise were those orchestra pit lifts, the intimacy they gave the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember, Ashley, because when you sang this, you were on that.
Yes.
And it was like everybody was one as you were singing it. You just felt 10,000 people. And it is really, I'm very grateful. It's a very treasured memory. Very treasured.
Oh, well, me too. Because I remember coming up in that you don't realize it till there's people there and performing on that stage before, but not being that close and really being able to see the faces and the people and just being so close at first was a little intimidating. And then you were just like, you did feel like you were with them versus being somebody just watching you on display.
Right. Yeah.
So it was really cool.
Yeah, when I came up with my gong on that elevator, it was a really magical moment.
Yeah.
So cool. I know, sing, Jen. We were doing our thing.
Oh, yeah, our dancing. Dancing.
Steph, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just saying that I think it was one of our final rehearsals, and I remember walking up with Jen and Ashley, and Ash was like, "Oh man, I don't know if I'm warm. Are we going to start with my song today? Oh God!" And then we sat down and we started with her song, and it was like
perfect.
It was the most glorious thing that we've ever heard. And Jen and I were like,
I mean, we could be up till 5 in the morning, and I kid you not, that happened. We'd be up till 5 in the morning, and I'd be like, "You guys, I have to go to bed." I would leave. They would stay up. And then the next matinee, she'd be like, "Oh, lady, honey, I don't know if I got it." And then she'd be like,
and, like it was 10:01, and we started with her moving the mountains, and she was moving us to tears.
And
Like,
y'all, those mountains were a little cobwebby in that 10 a.m.
No,
they're not.
Sweet.
Hey, Chad, my memory is, did your whole family come up from Arkansas for this?
They did. They always kind of it was close enough that they could all drive and everything. And yeah, my grandma, both of them came. One of them in a wheelchair. She was like, she thought she was in the show. Like, I think people thought she was important. She was like in the wheelchair and like waving at everyone. They're like, "Who's that lady?" And they're like, "I don't know. She was living for it."
I always remember there was a point where you had to go out in the house and stand on a book or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, this whole
What
show.
was your line again? What was your line?
You know, like you do a show and you're like the constraints of like what a big boy can do. Like I felt like this show really pushed me. They had me go up that platform, you know, and like I ran out from the audience all the way around and then would have to climb that. And I'm like, "Have y'all seen me?"
You nailed it.
I look like a chubby pirate over here, and y'all are just making me do the Olympics. But yeah, no, I did. I forgot what I said out in the audience.
I remember giggling at your line.
People out because there'd be no light, and then it would just like pop up, and I would be standing there on that box.
About people's voices need to be heard. Was it that moment? No.
Oh yes.
No.
He's so good. I feel like yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember.
You guys, do you remember when I saved Allison Fraser's life?
Tell that story.
Which time?
No, there was a moment like the Step family have a weird track. We're like in a scene, and then we're gone for a long time, and then we're in a scene, and all the scenes kind of enter the same way. And so Allison, she forgot a line or something, and she came up the stairs to exit, but it was at the wrong time. And she came up and realized she had to go right back on, and she turned and slid, and I caught her. I saved her life. And then she just went right back on as if nothing happened. She bounced into my arms, and then she bounced back out on stage. It was fantastic. But to this day, every time I see her, she goes, "You saved my life."
Well, y'all's 3 tracks are so busy. I mean, you got to hand it to her. I mean, the 3 of y'all just did not stop running around.
So, for the civilians in the audience, someone explain what a track is.
Oh.
What you are required to do during the show, meaning your entrances, your exits, your props, your up the stairs, down the stairs, your all the things.
Costume changes.
Yeah. And we had a lot of invitation business, like hold it and then rip it, and then don't rip it, and then hold it again.
Hold it up.
There was a lot, hold it. Yeah, it was a lot of business for a very quick period. So
and if you rip it at the wrong time, like the show could be like over.
Well, you know, Marcia's so general about that stuff. She just lets
yeah, pretty much.
And my favorite was, you know, the Muny, the turntable is, you know, it's not a normal turntable. It's the size of a football field. And so to enter the turntable and then get to the house and then get off the turntable, it took a lot. It wasn't just in the room. We were like, so this is where the turntable, you enter here. And Allison would always be like, what? Can we do it again? And we had to like show her and explain, because it's not easy. It's very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very conceptual rehearsal process.
Yes.
Although, maybe you didn't know this, but thanks to some incredible people in this community, the West platform has been completely redone. And we will have a turntable on it that we can practice on.
Wow.
Thank you, Muny supporters, donors. Incredible. Yeah.
Although I
still
love
gonna be
stage
out there?
manager being the wall. I love that.
Yeah.
Now we get rid of
Outdoors?
those, we get rid of those white fuzzy things now. You do that.
Yes.
I mean,
Could you clarify for our audience what you're talking about, John?
I don't know what they're called, but they come from like a cottonwood tree or something. There's constant. It looks like it's snowing all the time in rehearsal. We're
Yeah,
out
and you
on
wanna-
the platform, and it just, you know.
Yeah. You know.
Doesn't it make you feel like Buffalo?
Yeah, just, it's the same thing. It really
Yeah.
is. Very
Same thing.
similar vibe. Yep. Mhm.
And you're all sweaty and they just like stick to your arm. You're
Yeah.
like,
Or you're singing, it's lodged in your throat, and you're like, oh.
I remember, Stephanie, you had killer cat eye glasses. Didn't you?
Oh yes.
They were kind of like amazing.
Oh, I loved them. I felt like I found her when I put those on that day. It was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Like it was important.
What candy did we say you look like? I can't remember. You were a candy.
Candy?
We kind of all were. I feel like we were all like Skittles or Starburst. Like the costume design was brilliant. It was so like pops of color and neon and kooky, and it was amazing.
I know. I was so excited. I'd never had not had like chestnut. So now I have my pink like
Yeah.
candy wig. I was like, rockstar.
I'm not whipping it around.
Right. Well, it was so fascinating with the kids in the audience and their knowledge of Cinderella and how they watched it. I remember one night, a friend of mine had brought her granddaughter, and we were chatting before the show, and you know, she was like a smart kid. She was like 4 or 5, and she like looked at the boom and she said, "That's a door. Someone's coming out of there." And I'm like, "Well, we're just gonna have to wait to see." You know? And I said, "But there's gonna be some surprises and all of this." And she's like, "Okay." So at intermission, I go, "Well, you know," she's like, "Oh, I like it." And she looks at me, she goes, "So is this Cinderella 3 or 4? And I like, "Well, you do a first act and there's an intermission." And she looks at me like, "No, I got that. But like, I saw this Cinderella, they did this. There's this Cinderella that's like this." Like, she'd seen all these different Cinderellas, an animated, a live, you know, the storybook version. Like, it was so interesting to me that kids these days know, you know, like, you know, even the
versions.
There's Frozen on stage, there's Frozen on the animated, there's, you know, like, and they sort of associate that we're going to play with these popular fairy tales.
Yeah.
And she was like, "I really like the girls in this one. The girls in this one are good." Sorry, John. Sorry.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Don't cry.
Wow.
All right. Well, you guys are amazing and magical, and I'm so grateful for this time with you. And, you know, this is a really hard time for all of us. Like, you know, you've made the jokes about our world is gone, but our world is gone right now.
Mm-hmm.
So having this time to just sort of connect and remember and see, I'm very, very grateful for it. So I appreciate it. You taking time for the Muny.
Oh, we do it all the time. We'll invite you next time, Mike. We do this every week.
All right. Thank you. And for everybody who's watching, I think they gave me something to play off. We're so fancy now.
Wow.
Is it my number?
I think it's.
John, give us a little bit of it. Don't just keep teasing.
Help it out.
Better.
Here it is.
You have to put
The prince is giving a ball. The prince is giving a ball. The prince is giving a ball. He's giving a ball. The prince is giving a ball.
That was fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily Parker.
Mwah.
Michael Baxter. Mwah. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
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 you guys. Bye.